Hello, welcome to Forbest Academy. Today we'll be looking at an SAT math question. The question says as follows. If f of x equals the absolute value of x plus 1, for what value of x does f evaluated at x minus 2 equals f evaluated at x plus 2? Those are the choices. So I'm taking this book and solving some of the problems here. It is a good practice. It contains a lot of questions from the SAT, and so this is just one such question. Okay, so let's see how we go about doing this. So we need to check for which value of x this condition is satisfied. So let's plug it in. So simplifying, we have now at this point, if this were a real SAT question and you have to do question quickly, then I will just check because we actually have the answers, right? So we're told it could be either -1, 0, 1, or there's no value of x at all. So I will just check. So for example, let's just pick 0. Then if I pick 0, then I will get -1 equal to the absolute value of 3. Well, that's not true, right? So it's not 0. Let's say I pick -1. If I pick -1, I will get -1 minus 1. That's -2. Absolute value of -2 is 2. -1 plus 3, that's 2. The absolute value of 2 is also 2. So 1 works. Right? And so we'll be moving on, right? But I want to solve this question not by guessing, because I want to show you how to deal with expressions containing absolute values, right? So let's move on. So I can bring this term to the other side. So I'm gonna have x minus 1 minus absolute value of x plus 3. And that is 0. So how do we solve this, right? Let's remember what the absolute value means. So the absolute value of x is equal to minus x if x is negative, and x if x is positive. So the absolute value gives you like two cases, right? You have like the negative branch, let's call it like that, and the positive branch, right? So we need to check using this definition, explore this equation here. So let's just take, for example, look at this term. Let's say that x minus 1 is positive. So if x minus 1 is positive, we're taking the positive branch, right? So it means that the absolute value of x minus 1 is just x minus 1, right? So we've assumed this. Okay, so then that equation becomes x minus 1 minus. Now, if x minus 1 is bigger than 0, that means that x is bigger than 1. In fact, let me just put bigger or equal. So if x is bigger or equal to 1, then the absolute value of x plus 3 is going to be just x plus 3, because this quantity will never be negative because x is bigger than 1, right? Okay, so that means that we have minus. Now we remove the absolute value sign. We have x minus 3 is equal to 0. And now we have x minus x, that's 0, minus 1, minus and minus as plus, plus 3, that should be 0, and now we have the following. 2 is equal to 0. Well, that's clearly not true. So what that means is that there's no value of x bigger or equal to 1 that will satisfy that equation. That's where we get a contradiction. Okay? So this case didn't work. Okay, so we started with the case x minus 1 bigger or equal to 0. Now let's take the opposite case. So we can take the other branch of the absolute value. So let's now say that x minus 1 is less than 0, which means that x is less than, let's say, minus 1. Sorry, plus 1. Right? X less than 1. Okay. If x is less than 1, then the absolute value of x minus 1 takes the negative branch. So that means that it's negative x minus 1 minus. Okay, if x is less than 1, what happened to this term here? Well, this term x plus 3 can be positive or it can be negative. So we are going to have to take more cases here. So let's make it positive, meaning let's constrain x. So we still have x less than 1, but let's make x bigger than negative 3. That way, this absolute value, we're going to pick the positive branch. Okay, if we do that, then minus, that minus was already there, right? X plus 3, and that should be equal to 0. So simplifying this, we're going to have minus x plus 1 minus x minus 3 is equal to 0. So minus x, that's minus 2x. Minus 3 plus 1, that's minus 2, equals 0. And so finally, solving for x is equal to, we'll solve for x here, this is just minus 1. Right? So now in the actual SAT, I wouldn't go through all of this. If you have what the answer should be or could be, I just try and put it in and see what you get, right? But this is how you would do it formally. Alright, thanks for watching. For more videos like this, please subscribe to our channel.